practical, real life example. And I have our lovely guest panelist here, Katrina. She's going to share with us her experience, and let's just get right into it here. So Katrina, if you could unmute yourself and just, I guess just first let's just start off with introducing yourself and telling everyone a little bit about you.
So I work full-time, have a full-time job. With the COVID, I am blessed to work from home. And in a spare time, I flip properties and I buy and hold right now. I have 3 grandchildren. And with the COVID again, I had to participate heavily with schooling responsibilities. Summer I spend in my garden, and I do like real estate for work, that the experience that gives me that no other venture did before. So yeah.
So you've got your hands full there, right? Your grandmother, your gardening, you're a teacher now too. I didn't know that.
Well, I'm not. I'm assisting with teacher. It can be challenging when I have my conference call and my grandchild is on the other side of the table asking me questions regarding his homework. But I manage.
You have a lot of patience to be a teacher, honestly. Like
I agree.
That's amazing. So kind of tell us a little bit about your real estate investing background. So like, why did you start in general investing in real estate? What kind of, like, tell us your story. Like, how did you get involved in that?
To be honest with you, this is the story of a gut feeling. I always wanted to do it, never had the opportunity. My husband was against it, too much work, too much involvement, then was not interested. So once I became free, I'm no longer in a relationship. I thought it was an opportunity to do so. I read all the books that were out there. I listened to podcasts as I was traveling to work, and realized that I have to have a team. First and foremost, I need to have a realtor. And then again, the gut feeling comes along. One day I was buying something for my own house, and I never do it. I'm not particularly shy person, but at the same time, I do not approach strangers. And there was a truck standing in front of that vanity shop and had a name of a contractor, and I took out my phone and then called the number. And then he came out, said, sure, I will talk to you about it. And I know a person that helped me to flip and invest in real estate, and his name is Tom. And I went for that and called up Tom, and that was the beginning of it. That was 2016.
That was 2016. I remember at first you were thinking about buy and hold, but like, how did you come across the idea of flipping homes, and what attracted you to the concept, you know?
Buy and hold was the main goal, and flipping was introduced by you. The first trip we went, I think, to Windsor or Guelph. We didn't find anything that I liked. The prices didn't quite make sense. Uneasy about it. And you said, well, would you like to try to flip? So, well, I don't know about that. When you see something, let me know. And sure enough, opportunity came. And you know what I like about it was opportunity that creating, I guess, part of my personality is really messy place. It was a rooming I guess, townhouse with, I don't know, 6 bedrooms in it with 5 refrigerators, very, very creative, electrical. And I just looked at them thinking, I can work with it. I can make it pretty. And it did. It worked well.
Yeah, awesome. No, thanks for sharing that. And what was that? That was like 4 plus years ago, right? 4 or 5 years ago. That was your first one.
You can always look at when your son was born, and that was the day I took over the property, because your wife went to labor the day I got the keys.
Yeah, so it'd be five years ago. Yeah, he's 5. Yeah. My son is 5 years old, so he's the one in the photo there with the Blue Jay uniform. But what were your initial thoughts about being like an investor, flipper? Like, what did your friends and family think about that idea?
So first thing I hid from my friends and family, because I knew that there's going to be plenty of people that are going to tell me, not a good idea, don't do it, you're too busy as it is and such. So I didn't want to hear that. So I just kept it to basically Tom and myself. And the second one I started to share. And to be honest with you, very recently I shared with my closest of the girlfriends, because she didn't have a clue how much. And when I asked her how much I've done so far, she was absolutely in awe and shock. And I felt like such a hero.
She's like, you gotta have your own TV show at that point, right? You need your own flipping program. That's great. No, that's awesome. And since then, like, how many projects have you completed, like, more or less, in those 5+ years?
So to the next one is going to be number 12. Not all of them were flips. I am proud to say that I used COVID to actually finally buy and hold something. I bought 2 houses during COVID and converted one to duplex, one to triplex in Niagara region. Very pleased with myself. Good cash flowing properties.
Amazing. Congratulations. 12 properties in 5 years. That's awesome. Just curious, like, were there any initial fears? Like, when you jumped into this, did you have any fears, concerns, and what were they, if you had any?
I guess looking back, they were kind of silly because I was very concerned, where do I get cheap vanities? I guess I saw these astronomical prices, right? I'm thinking, how on earth am I going to keep it under budget when everything is so expensive? But you did help. Like, you were guiding me. Okay, this is where you go for the tiles. This is the budget. You know, when the first scope of work came in, you were the one who, Tom, prepared it for me. Say, not only how much it's supposed to cost, but where do you buy it for that price? And it worked. It worked. Great,
great. And you know, before we get into the first example here, the one on in Toronto, like, just give maybe the audience here a general sense of what have been the range in profits on per project. Just
so the lowest was 25,000, and this and was the highest one was over 70.
Over 70, so between 25 and 70K, depending on the project.
That's correct.
Right, and this is you working full time, right? This is something you do as a side hustle.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay, so let's go through one of those examples here. This is okay. You know what? We're going to talk about this in the context of our theme, the 3 pillars. So property, financing, and contractors. So why don't you tell us a little bit about this this Toronto home here?
I looked at it and I didn't think it's a home. It looked like a shack. Coming from Mississauga, when we have decent looking homes, that was like, Tom, you must be kidding. How much do they want for this? But I look at the, you know, always every time when you present the property, there's also P&L going along with it to see how much is it going to be worth after renovation. On the conservative side, I'm thinking there's a money for it. And I love the mess. You walk into that property and you can see the potential. So, and there were some challenges. I am always up to learn for something new. So I could see that I'm going to learn something new. So I will definitely, but it was the money. Let's be honest.
Well, you purchased it for $635,000 in October of 2019. Now, let's give our audience here an idea of what this, as you put it, shack looked like. So I'm going to share with people a video. Can you guys, Eric, can you see that?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
So this is a video that I took. My question is, can you hear music? Because
yeah, I can.
Nice. Okay, good.
Yeah, this was a really good one.
You remember it?
I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember the lamp on the kitchen table.
Here.
And the drapes.
And the drapes everywhere. The basement that looked like there was no way human life could exist in it. However, there was 2 humans living in it.
Yeah, I had to move that camera a little quick because, you know, it's a little awkward.
Yeah, we were. Sometimes a lot of these homes, like Tom mentioned, people are going through different things. So sometimes there's a lot of people home and a lot of hurdles that are not that difficult to get past, actually.
And we're heading upstairs.
Yeah.
So it was 3-bedroom, 1 bathroom, and there was a half bathroom, something makeshift in the basement.
Yeah.
Turned out that the bathtub upstairs had no drainage, so it was never used or lately, and there was water accumulation, so it created bubble in the floor downstairs in the ceiling.
There was a lot of stuff there, just looking back at this now. And Katrina, I know that when you closed on the property, you had a little bit of a surprise to deal with as well, right?
That's right. They left all the furniture behind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but Tom helped. We hauled up some money back to help with the disposal cost of the furniture.
Yeah. So I guess my point there being is like with these hurdles that sometimes seem like they're big deals, most of the time there's a solution to them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What on earth did you see in that house at a potential?
Well, you take out the color, you take out the walls, we take out the junk, and it turned out to be very decent, bright property, right? And yeah, the grapevine, yeah, that was definitely
So that was the property. I hope people could at least get the idea of what it looked like before. So I think that gave us a good sense. Talk about the financing. How did you finance this property?
At that point, I knew this is a short-term project in and out as soon as possible. So I prefer private financing because it's less hassle. And although the interest rate is high, but in a short term, it's worth it. It's just not too much time spent with the banks. Just I don't like it.
Great. So I guess people an idea of how useful it can be, given the convenience of it and the short-term nature.
Absolutely. And when you consider the fact that you would go to a bank and you would get a 5-year fixed mortgage in comparison to private lending, that's an open mortgage. It's definitely very convenient for these types of flips.
Well, you also pay the penalty, even if it's variable mortgage, you still have to pay the penalty, and the amount of time you spend trying to get the mortgage sometimes it's simply not worth it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then lastly, so contractors. So we talked about how a contractor can make or break you. Who did you use and how did you find them?
So this is a contractor that I've been working with for some time now, and he was the one that I found, but not used on the first flip. I think we advertised, called people around, and he came to quote. And by the time he came back with the quote, I already hired somebody else. So I said, well, too bad. Let's try it again. And I did try him again on a couple other occasions. And as you said, he doesn't have all the 4 things that we were looking for. Is the cost, quality, timeliness, or attitude. He's missing the timeliness. I can live with it.
Oh, great. All right. That's a great breakdown there. And then I guess, what, we'll go, your budget here, it says about 80 to 90,000. That's what you had anticipated it would cost to renovate this place, roughly. Okay.
Yeah.
And let's just jump into midway. So that's the before, what you just saw, and this is what it was midway. And
yeah, I love that picture because I asked him to take the partition wall. I don't know if you guys remember, there was a burgundy room. So just take the walls in between the burgundy and the kitchen, the room and the kitchen. And they didn't even call me. They said, I thought that this is going to be a partition wall that's going to come down. And when I came, he said, nah, everything came down. And they had great attitude. It's not a big deal. It's better that way. This way they have insulation. We can do a proper job at it. They didn't fuss over it. Neither did I.
Because before, correct me if I'm wrong, most of your previous projects were using the existing drywall, simply patching it, painting it, and just kind of refurbishing, right?
That's right. But even if it was taking down some walls, it was never a plaster. That was my first project with the plastered walls. And I did not anticipate that they just crumble down like that. They would not have insulation. They would not have framing done. So that was the first one. And the contractors were great.
Right. So what did you, so it looks like everything is gone. I mean, okay, yeah, you got the windows. What did you keep? Did you keep anything at all?
Yeah, the ceiling. No, the ceiling had to go, you know, because there was a bubble, there was water, and you know, I kind of had to pay extra money for the framing, insulation, and such. However, my electrician looked at it and said, "Oh, great, open slate. We don't have to fish through the walls. This is bonus." So actually, I paid less for rectifier. We redid the whole house because it was still not in tube.
Amazing. Okay, so let's kind of drum roll this into the before and after shots. So let's kind of take this through. So there's one here of the entrance. If you remember, people, this was the one on the left. That's the living room, and then you'll see kind of the after. It's kind of hard to envision it because all those walls came down. But Katrina, maybe you want to break down what happened here. What were some of the renos that you did here?
So once the walls came down, we had an open area. This is a very narrow place. I think it was 14 feet wide and pretty long. I didn't like the staircase and the enclosure of the staircase, so I asked it to be replaced. Found a great guy that put the floating or pretend to be floating staircase, I think because the next picture is gonna show you that there was a so that's the front of the house. Right. So all the walls are, I think there was 3 rooms: kitchen, living room, and a dining room. So
yeah, there was
one open room. Yeah,
there was 3 rooms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe so there's a shot of the lovely bathtub.
That's right. So that had to be actually reconfigured. We put the bathtub in a different way, a different space. That was the beauty of opening all the walls, because then redoing the plumbing, putting in a different space was much easier.
And how did you pick your colors? Like, who came up with the design, and how were these colors determined?
The colors were determined what's currently selling on the market, right? So what is the most popular? You help with it, but I also go on MLS, look at the very expensive properties made by designers, and I kind of figure it out. Okay, what is the color scheme for the year? So this year it's kind of gray, warm grayish. Okay, so be it. Great.
I guess this is another one of the dining room from a different angle.
Mm-hmm.
And you kept the windows, but you replaced the doors, if I'm not mistaken, right?
That's right. The windows were in a good shape. However, the doors needed replacement, so I changed all the doors, exterior or in interior.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about this. This is interesting. So, I mean, it's kind of offset, but what did you do with this backyard exactly?
So on the left-hand side, you have the window that became a door that you can see by a refrigerator on the right-hand side. There was 2 reasons for it, why it was done that way. One is very practical. That window was too low to put a countertop underneath it to do the kitchen L-shape the other way. So I may as well take it out and gain entrance to the backyard that way. Previously, the entrance to the backyard was in the yellow room to the left, and it was very awkward. That was a storage area, and not neither here nor there. So that became a second bathroom. Almost insisting that second bathroom on the main floor is a good thing, so we worked with it.
There's a bedroom. So yeah, here's that staircase you spoke about. So you said this was the first time you actually replaced the entire staircase.
That's right, and it was fun. I found the contractor actually, and I love to go to the factory itself, and he walked me through and he showed me what he's doing. Smelled like real wood, and it was very nice. The price wasn't ridiculous, but to do a proper floating staircase, you have to actually dig into the brick, and this is semi-detached. So I couldn't do it. So he came up with a different solution. We came up with a different solution, and that worked. It still gives you that spacious, because it's a small property. So it still gives you that space, but it wasn't enclosed like before.
Yeah, I mean, what a difference. You see that wall being removed there completely, just opening up. And to your point, you said there's only 14 feet of width here. So you got to make every bit of it count.
Yeah. So I worked very hard on the railing. The first contractor that came with it was, just wanted to do the traditional railing going up and down that I lose about 6 inches of space. So I figured out a different way to do it, and it was actually less expensive too.
Excellent. So there's the bedroom there, which you again replaced the walls because you said they were crumbling.
Yeah. Everything went down. Yeah. So the double door to the bedroom, I had leftover from a previous project. So I used this as an opportunity to get rid of those double doors. Came out pretty well.
Yeah, they're great. And again, another shot of the kitchen. So you reconfigured this kitchen, obviously, because that fridge moved, right?
Yeah, to the other wall. And then everything went down, so it was easy to do. The plumbing, everything was so easy because there was no longer walls to deal with.
Excellent. And then this basement. So this is interesting. So what'd you end up doing with the basement? It looks like instead of finishing it, you kind of just cleaned it up essentially.
Yeah, so on the left-hand side picture, there was a bathroom to the right that didn't quite work, and it was pretty low ceiling. And we kind of look at the comparable houses, how much they sold for, and figured that finishing the basement is not gonna add too much value to it. Just keep it clean, paint it all white, and I changed the water tank, put in the laundry room there. And actually, I remember one of the buyers was looking at it because we opened the ceiling in the basement and left the wiring exposed, tied in, but you can see it. I remember someone was commenting that was a proof that actually the whole house was rewired, not only pretend.
Yeah, great point.
Right.
And I do remember that. Like I'm about 5'11", and in order to get underneath these ducts, you had to kind of limbo underneath them.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the best use of space. So moving that bathroom, which is here, to the main floor was just much more practical and much more, and also usable instead of like going all the way down, limboing underneath the ducts and going to the bathroom.
Yeah, we struggled with it for a while. There was 3 different proposals for it, and I think we worked until we figured out that it's best to put it upstairs and use that storage area as a bathroom.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a great decision on your part. Oh yeah, and there's that bathrooms that you moved.
That's right. So the purple one is the one in the basement, and upstairs is the one that I created with the where the toilet is right now. It was entrance to the backyard.
Yeah, yeah, it was a doorway.
And I love this though, the fact that you went the extra mile to even take care of something that I don't think many people would make much of, and that's this vestibule.
Well, it's the first impression, right? The property at the outside is not much to look at, and I cannot do much about it. However, always when I do some projects, my first thing is when someone walks in, they don't have to, well, wow, it's a good thing. If they're wowed by something, sometimes simple as mirrors or nice door. And in this case, the foyer that could be used as a small property, the people need extra space. So clean it up, make it pretty, didn't cost much, and look really neat.
Absolutely. No, it's a great touch. So before and afters, you closed on it in October, and then we put on the market in January 2020. It was listed for $799. We had over 5 offers. Now, it's hard to get audience participation doing this virtually, but we're going to ask people what they think this home sold for back on January 2020. And for whoever gets closest to the pin, I have this lovely Amazon gift card. So for those of you that are interested, please, you can put in the chat box how much you think this home sold for.
Okay.
Eric, you want to shout them out? We got 910.
Yeah, we got 850, 910, 905, 800, 860. 1 million.
1 million. Well, it's also Price is Right rules, so if you have to be under, you go $1.
As soon as I saw 1 million, I thought $1 million. 825,000.
Okay. All right. So the answer is there were over 5 offers, and it just sold for $1 under 880.
Ooh.
880. And you'll see here, this is what I think people are most interested is the numbers. How did the numbers break down? And I'll kind of go through them somewhat in detail. Again, this home was purchased for $635,000, so we have a gross profit of $245,000. And then you have your expenses. You have land transfer tax. Remember, this is Toronto. You pay double land transfer tax. Renovations, it looks like you're a little bit over the budget there, but it came up to about $97,000. But you can see that the money was well spent with all the new walls, the drywall, the electrical, etc. Commissions, again, $34,800. Lawyers' fees, because there's private lending involved, it's a little bit more expensive even on the lawyers' fees side of things. So it's about $5,500. Carrying costs, that includes your utilities, that includes your private financing costs, $16,500. So total expenses of $172,000, and you'll see at the very bottom the net profit just shy of $73,000 in about, what was that, 3-4 months roughly?
Yep.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, that was a really satisfying project. I mean, not just financially, but I think like even for me, when I saw you do this, it really opened my mind to something that required such extensive renovation that could be achieved with the right team.
Yeah, so, right team is absolutely the key, and the attitude carries you a long way.
Oh, I was just about to say, based on that, when you had sent us the picture of after your closing, and there was all the stuff in the house still, the way that you had sent us the picture of it is you were smiling in one of the mirrors that they left behind.
So you remember that? Oh, wow.
I remember clearly, right? So same like Tom said, that your attitude throughout the whole process for something that was new to you and really new from what we've seen from our clients as well, going all the way down to the brick, it was incredible.
Yeah, no.
Again, the attitude also came from my vendors too. I guess people alike, they like to work together. They were equally easygoing. So, well, it happened. Let's move on.
Yeah, because I have had the contractor that just gets overwhelmed with the scope. He just kind of gets, the house just starts to get a little overwhelming for them, and as a result, they can't handle it. But in this case, I mean, you certainly hired the right guy to do the work and was able to start a home from scratch and made it look, I wouldn't say easy, but just he made it easier, at least the process easier.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely.
So to wrap things up here, Katrina, maybe you want to share, just to kind of summarize some of your lessons learned from your 5+ years experience, 12 properties. What are some of the lessons you could share with our audience?
I think the first one we just already touched on, the attitude. There is no problems. There's always opportunities. Everything can be turned around. Don't expect that any project is gonna be just perfect the way you imagine. There's gonna be always something, right? And then it's usually not a big deal. Just work through it. Let it go. And just stick to the bigger picture and don't let little things ruffle you too much. Enjoy the challenge, just learn from it. Next time you're not gonna know better, right? Would I take another one like that? Sure, but I would take the same contractors. I don't know if they would take it.
Yeah, that's, and I hope, sorry to interrupt, but I hope people caught that. I do want to just stress how important it is to have the right mindset for this. And you can see, from the smile in Katrina right now, how she deals with things is really fundamental to her success and how she approaches. Because other people I have seen, let's just say they don't deal with problems very well. They get stressed out about them and they let it eat at them, and that sort of approach becomes their downfall. But I've noticed from your from dealing with yourself that you're always in a positive mindset. The challenges don't scare you. You almost kind of embrace it at the end of the day. So kudos to you. And that's really fundamental, I think, to your success.
It's definitely starting in the first thing in the morning. If you are anticipate problems with kind of knot in your stomach, then you're going to have knot in your stomach for the rest of the day. And if something goes sideways, you just say, okay, how do I get out of it? What do I need to do?
Absolutely.
That's it. Yeah. And work with people like you. I know that the contractor that I work with, he is very diligent but slower. So don't get stressed if he's 2 weeks behind. Just you accept that that's what it is.
Great point there.
Yeah, as long as he's showing up at the job site still, then it is what it is, right? I think the problem is sometimes, like to Tom's point, if people get overwhelmed, then you can't track them down for a few weeks, then you have a problem. But if it's taking a little bit longer and you're getting those other 3 parts of the 4 pillars, then it sounds like a good deal.
And then, so Katrina, this last point, recognize the strengths and weaknesses in yourself and your team and work them to your advantage. What does that mean to you?
Well, I know I am very detail oriented and the little things would drive me crazy. So I have to step back and I have to say, okay, does it in the big picture, right? No, it doesn't. Walk away, forget about it, move on. I am very hands-on. Very often love to jump and help. Have to pull myself back. This is not my purpose there. So, you know, some of that, sometimes it is helpful, sometimes it's not. So you have to know yourself and don't let your personality drive the project. You know, the scope is the scope and stick to it.
Excellent. Well, thank you for participating in our discussion tonight and sharing your experiences. I'm sure our audience tonight got a really good perspective on how, you know, what's involved here in your success. So again, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. So we're going to be wrapping up things here. And guys, one thing is about attending webinars, seminars, and reading books, podcasts. They're great resources, but it's all about putting things into action. And we're going to be giving you a few opportunities on how you can do that. First is we have what we call a buyer's list. So what that entails is that if you want to get deals sent to you, so these are opportunities like the one Katrina had, you simply have to just type in deals to the chat box and we'll gladly put you on that list. It doesn't obligate you to anything whatsoever. You can always unsubscribe. But again, if you want to see what some of the opportunities are available out there, this is an easy way to get some opportunities. So again, deals in the chat box. Now, for those of you that are keen and want to take this seminar and kind of see it live and up front and close, what we used to do is a flip tour where we would take like 20, 30 people in an open house sort of setting and showcase properties and what we do live at the property. Now, because of COVID, we're not doing that anymore. However, for anyone that's looking to see them in person, we can schedule a private appointment, showcase some of our current projects. We're usually working between 10 and 15 projects at any point in time. And again, there's no cost, there's no obligation. But again, this is to further your learning, your experience, get your questions answered. It's honestly a great opportunity. So again, if this is something that you want to take advantage of, you can just type in the word flip in the chat box and we'll be glad to follow up with you. And as well, if you wanted to just circle back at some point later, we'll give you our contact information. And lastly, we host a monthly webinar on a different topic related to real estate. Next month, July 29th, is how to be a smart real estate buyer, discussing the ins and outs of buying a property, and also we'll be covering what is happening in today's market. And the next seminar, which will be in August, this is the first time we're going to be hosting this. It's going to be talking about private lending. So for those of you that say, you know what, how do I make 8 to 14% on my money without doing anything? This is a seminar for you to find out how that works. So these are, for example, like Katrina here, she took a private loan, paid a percentage. This is for people who are looking to potentially invest in something like that. Again, it will go through the ins and outs of what's involved there, what are the risks, how to evaluate the opportunity. It's something that I personally do. This is a webinar for you. We'll be sending out the invitation, so attend that one. That will be in August.